The Cell Phone by Ryan Gamillion. The cell phone was invented 40 years ago in the labs of Motorola. The technology of hexagonal radio tower patterns and wireless phones had already been invented, but there still wasn't a true mobile phone. That was when Dr. Martin Cooper and his team worked on and created the very first cell phone. He took his new phone and, as a joke, called Motorola's competitor, AT&T, to basically rub it in his face that Dr. Cooper had invented the mobile phone first. It wasn't until a few years later that the cell phone became practical and affordable, but Martin Cooper is still alive today to see the impacts of his invention. The invention of the cell phone has caused the whole world to change. Communicating has become incredibly easy. As mobile phones have become more advanced to meet our needs, so has the ability to talk with our friends and family. 2/3 of all cell phone users say that mobile phones have made it a lot easier to keep in touch with friends and relatives. The cell phone has made it to where it only takes a few buttons to talk to almost anyone in the world. While only 6% of cell phone users say that the devices have not improved their connection with people, the mobile phone has made communication an everyday event. The mobile phone has further reaching impacts than just being able to stay connected. Thanks to this invention, developing nations are able to gain investors and help from higher developed nations. These phones allow for humans and organizational resources to communicate with each other, as well as the countries, so that they may further their efforts in the best locations. As these underdeveloped nations are becoming more and more developed, the whole world is becoming better, all thanks to the invention of the cell phone. Even though Dr. Cooper's invention has had great benefits, there are still negative effects to the cell phone. As phones are fitting more and more of our needs, we find it harder to live life without them. It can get so much so that people actually have anxiety and psychiatric disorders develop when they are without their phones. The mobile phone also reverses advancement in our societal development by making talking through text or over a phone call the primary means of communicating. Even though it may be easier, old-fashioned ways of conversing shouldn't be forgotten for the technology of the cellular phone. The cell phone has also been found to have negative effects on our health. The growth in the use of our phones has encouraged studies to discover how mobile phones are related to our medical problems. Cell phones let out these things called electromagnetic frequencies. When we use our cell phone over and over again, we are exposing ourselves to these high-frequency electromagnetic frequencies. This exposure can lead to digestive disorders, fatigue, hypertension, insomnia, irritability, low blood pressure, infertility in males, cancer, neurological, and cardiovascular problems. Just having the phone in our pockets can cause infertility. As these phones are becoming primary tools for most everything we do, the health hazards of the cell phones should not be ignored. When Dr. Cooper called AT&T 40 years ago, he had no idea what kind of effects his invention would have. The phone he made a reality has shaped our world. Whether it is the ease of communication or the ability to help others and other nations, the mobile phone has given us much more than we asked for. Too much of these phones, though, causes some diseases and disorders that shouldn't be overlooked, but worked on so that we may prevent them. As Dr. Martin Cooper said himself, people want to talk to other people, not a house or an office or a car. Made by Ryan Gamillion, Mrs. Burton's class, Dual Credit English 4, November 16th, 2013.